the two mothers of feminism within America, or do you want to go somewhere before that? Or?
I think in the interim, you've got France is the one that comes up with the word feminism, and you've got some other women that are involved. Madame Blavatsky, who creates Theosophy, who's another major player. So, Madame Blavatsky, I think that's how you say her name. She created Theosophy. She's this Russian noblewoman, supposedly, who traveled the world and took all these different religions and sort of smushed them together into this, spiritualism and seance, you name it. And that's the religion that ended up really animating and inspiring Elizabeth Cady Stanton and a number of the women that she worked with, especially women that helped her write the book called The Women's Bible.
Which was written roughly?
So I want to say 1880, maybe. Thereabouts.
I don't want to jump ahead, but I was shocked to learn that was that the book that was written on the spirit table?
Oh no, that's the Seneca Falls. What is it called?
Let's see.
Something
Elizabeth
of
and
Sentiments.
Seneca's
the Declaration of Sentiments.
Thank you, Declaration of Sentiments. Yeah, because she's basing on the Declaration of Independence. So
wow.
Yeah, so to fill in the gap that we just left. So Elizabeth Cady Stanton comes along. She has this idea. She sees sort of the issues of women. I mean, she's got her own issues. Her older brother died, and her father wanted a son, and so she was trying to fill that space, but couldn't do it. She had an overbearing mother. I mean, there's all these details that I go into in the book. But she's also in New York at this time when the Second Great Awakening is going on, and there's seances and mediums happening kind of all over, and there's this new way in which the women in particular are communicating with the spirits, and it's through this knocking on these particular tables, and so they're called spirit tables because that's where they would operate and they would conjure up the spirits, and the spirits would give them answers.
This is wild.
Yeah.
These women are thought to be saints in secular America.
Yeah. No, her spirit table is actually in the Smithsonian too. Yeah, the same table.
And do they comment on what it is? Yeah,
I don't think so.
They just call it a spirit table?
It's just called the spirit table.
Wild.
And it's phenomenal too, because the other thing that happens is they take men completely out of the picture with this spiritual world. They don't need a pastor anymore. They don't, they can get all the answers that they need from the knocking on the table, which
sounds legitimate.
Very legitimate.
Doesn't it? No, I mean it. What I mean is it sounds like a legitimate supernatural experience.
Oh, I think it absolutely was. And it took over the country, it's like wildfire, because you have to remember, the Civil War just happened. So you have all these dead men, and you also have, as I was doing this research, so many dead children just dying from cholera and malaria and, tuberculosis, you name it, just like that. They were there one day and they were gone the next day from these diseases. And so you have just this trail of brokenness between all these deaths. And so people were really anxious. Like, what did he say? They want to know what happened to their loved one who died on the battlefield, or, all of that. And so it was just that, that opportunity, right, that really, I think, led people to trust in it. And, we know that it's obviously not coming from God. But I think it was a very legitimate, spiritual
And this
experience.
is the thing, right? If you have a Christian worldview, as we do, Thomas Aquinas in the Contra Gentiles, I think, talks about people believing in many gods, and these many gods were demons. That's who they were.
Yeah.
And so we have the heroes of American feminism communing with demons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not even hiding it. Not even.
No. And Cady Stanton was very much she was raised Calvinist, and she abandoned that. She was very active in anti-Christian kinds of work. She had kind of a real antipathy towards it. And that comes through in her book, The Woman's Bible, where, it's sort of like, if you read it, you can still get it today. If you read it, it sort of feels like you're angry teenager sort of commenting on, how women are treated in the Old Testament and thereon. And it's just,
and when you read
sad.
it, do you get the sense that, yes, she's right, she has some points, or no?
No. And in fact, between that and another scandal that happened, she actually got thrown out of her own organization because she was just so toxic. And, I think the other part of her work was, of course, Susan B. Anthony. And
Right.
Susan B. Anthony was very much just a mouthpiece for Cady Stanton. There's, Cady Stanton was busy home with her children, and Susan B. Anthony wasn't married and didn't have children. And so she was the one that could go out and travel. And she was very involved. I mean, she actually at one point said something effective, I wish the demons would come speak through me, or the spirits would come speak through me, because she had a hard time public speaking sometimes. So, so it's very much part of their culture.
Yeah, here's what you write. Spiritualism spread like wildfire. Estimates have ranged from 2 million adherents before the Civil War to close to 7 million after. And here's a quote from a reporter from the New York Times. Judging from its rapid extension and widespread effects, it seems to be the new, what does that word mean? Muhammad. Okay. Is that what that means? Yeah. Of the social antichrist overrunning the world.
Yeah.
My goodness. And then this, I don't know what this quote was from, but I found it really interesting. Feminism is the infidelity to male supremacy, which officially began as an organized movement at Seneca Falls, New York, 1848. Spiritualism, the direct communication with the spirit world, which profoundly subverted organized religion, began with the Fox family, rappings, gosh, that would be terrifying, in 1848. And free love is the infidelity to the primary social institution, the family. So it's like an unholy trinity of sorts that overthrows the order of the world, because I think the etymology of hierarchy means holy order, doesn't it? I know that anarchy, you can look that up if you don't mind.
I don't know.
Yeah, and the opposite of hierarchy isn't peace, it's anarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so that's our founding mothers.
And
founding mothers.
And what was and so this is, and so what about these two women, Anthony and
Cady Stanton?
Are they practicing so-called free love and that sort of?
No, I don't. I think Cady Stanton, I had the impression, was monogamous and probably not very happy in her marriage. And Susan B. Anthony never married. That's actually one of the interesting things. Her biographer spent 4 days burning her papers. So there's a lot of content that we don't have about her anymore, which is also kind of a weird thing to do. Like, what was being hidden? And there's some intimations that she might have been a lesbian. I mean, it's sort of one of those things to not read between the lines. And I didn't put it in the book because I didn't feel like I had it substantiated sufficiently.
Good for you.
But there's
good for you in the sense that you don't want to overstate your case and get
Right.
something wrong and be discredited.
Exactly.
Hierarchy comes from hieros, meaning supernatural or holy, and archos, meaning ruler. Sorry.
Yeah, so feminism.
Yeah, so it
is the
starts in
subversion of holy
ecclesiastical.
order.
Yeah.
It starts in ecclesiastical and was extended to governmental because we use similar words like diakonos for like how Caesar is referred to as diakonos in Romans, that kind of thing. So that's how it expanded to meaning in more in secular world.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The 60s? Or am I moving too quick?
I would only just flag that, the dramatic communist revolution in, what's happening. But much of it coming from Thomas Paine again. He's sort of considered the first socialist, and you've got all these real changes happening on, the world stage in terms of the role that communism is playing and the way in which, if you look at the Soviet socialist revolution, you can see what happens to women in that. They go to work, their children are being taken care of by somebody else, and abortion is, you can get as many as you want.
And what you just said about Marxism and its effects is what we live in America. Women go to work, someone looks after their kids, and abortion.
Yeah. So we've all been made Marxists because of Betty Friedan and others who were actually very involved blending communism and feminism together.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.